All right, we're back with another example. This is example 2. Remember, we're trying to price stocks using these dividend models that we're working with. The first one is the dividend discount model, which suggests that the price of the stock is equal to the present value of the future cash flows that that stock will pay, where the cash flows are defined as dividends. Of course, the face value is going to be the price of the stock at some point in the future. But if we make two assumptions, that is, if we make the assumption that dividends are growing at a constant rate G forever, and we make the assumption that the return required by shareholders R is greater than G, then we can use the Gordon growth model. So here's example 2. Suppose a firm anticipates paying a dividend of $3 next year, $4 in the year after, and $5 in year 3. Also assume the price of the stock is going to be $100. So according to these dividend models, what should the price of the stock be today if the required rate of return by shareholders is equal to 15%? Okay, so the example 2 is very similar to example 1. The only difference is we have a third year's dividend of $5, and we assume that the price of the stock in year 3 is going to be 100. Okay, so a couple of things to note. I have here in Excel the dividends are $3, $4, and $5 in each of the next 3 years. The price is going to be $1. The first thing we need to determine is what model should we use, the dividend discount model or the Gordon growth model. So note something carefully here. So even though the dividends are growing by a constant amount, they're not growing by a constant rate G. And they're not growing by a constant rate G forever. We only have 3 years of dividends. For instance, the dividend is growing from year 1 to year 2 by $1. The rate of growth is going to be that growth of $1 divided by 3. Again, from year 2 to year 3, the dividend is growing by $1, but the rate of growth is going to be that $1 divided by 4. That is, G is not constant across time. So we cannot use the dividend growth model. We're going to have to use the dividend discount model. Okay. So I've got here in Excel, I'm going to take the present value of these dividends and the present value of the price, and I'm going to add them up to figure out what the price is going to be today. So in year 1, I'm going to take D1 divided by 1 plus R raised to the power of 1. So this is going to be equal to D1, the dividend in year 1, divided by 1 plus R, where R is 15%, so 1.15 raised to the power of 1. And I get a dividend of $2.61, which should look familiar from the last example. In year 2, I take the dividend in year 2 divided by 1.15 or 1 plus R raised to the power of 2. I'm discounting back this dividend 2 years by a rate of 15%. And I get a dividend of $3.02. And in year 3, I'm going to take the dividend in year 3 divided by 1.15, 1 plus R raised to the power of 3. And I get a dividend in present value terms of $3.29. And then I'm going to take this price of the stock, which is going to be $100 in year 3, and I'm going to discount that back 3 years back to year 0 by the rate of R, 1.15 raised to the power of 3. Okay. So in present value terms, the price of the stock in year 3, which is $100, in present value terms is going to be $65.70. The price of the stock today is going to be equal to the sum of these cash flows. So I'm going to sum these 4 cells, and I get the price of the stock given the information according to the dividend discount model to be $74.67.